and welcome into the Section 109 podcast. Mix just winked at me. I am Breezy. This is Matthew. We are here from Studio Breezy, here to recap 2 women's games with Bobble Juan and Matthew's Aquafina. He's already finished his coffee, therefore I know he's ready to go.
Absolutely.
Matthew, how are we doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be back in studio. I've missed this. This is some of the best parts of my week. So I'm happy to be podcasting again.
You got friends in low places, turns out.
That's a good joke. That is actually a good joke. Out of your many bad jokes, that was a good joke.
All my jokes are good.
That's not true. Matthew, we have 2 games to recap because I've been very busy, and so the studio has been unavailable, and you've been busy as well, so our schedules haven't aligned. But we're here now. 865 Alliance. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. 3-1 loss at home. I was out of town in Vegas for the U.S. men's national team game, so I didn't see this in person. You did. I have watched large portions of it on the stream, so I will have some takes on it, but I would like your opening thoughts. And I'm going to lean on you a lot for this one since you were there in person.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games where, man, so 3-1 loss, not fun, not great. There are some positives from this game, mostly in the second half, although there were large portions of this game where I felt like we pinned Knoxville back, and we were creating chances. We were danger adjacent a ton. We were even a little dangerous. And I thought only getting 1 goal out of this game was maybe a little harsh.
Do you think any other podcast in the world says danger adjacent as much as we do?
No, I think we're the trendsetters on that one.
Damn right we are.
But like this game is, I think exhibited a cheat code in women's soccer, which is that like athleticism, especially like another level of
game-changing athleticism.
Like it's just it's tough to compete with, even if you're the better soccer playing team. And I think CFC women are the better soccer playing team compared to at least 865 Alliance.
Yeah.
But Knoxville has better athletes, and multiple times they scored 2 goals from just straight up like kick it long, boot it, someone gets up ahead of steam,
kick it over
boom,
top.
Boom, gone. We're off to the races. One-on-one chance.
Look, that's something we talked about preseason, right? That the direct Route 1 lower league men's soccer thing that you do see a bit in the lower divisions is much more prevalent in the women's game, even at the higher levels.
Yeah. Because
if you have a game-changing athlete, it's just a bigger cheat code. And unfortunately, Knoxville had a couple of those.
Yeah, so you get 2 different moments, one early in the first half, one early-ish in the second half, where it's just long ball, knocked down, player runs onto it, and they're raw, free and clear. The other Knoxville goal comes off of a throw-in sequence, and we just had a player switch off and forget to mark someone, and that girl still has to make a great cutback in the box, and it's a nice finish. I'm not going to take away from that goal for Knoxville. But it's frustrating where, I feel like that game should really not be a 3-1 home loss for us. And I think those 2 goals that Knoxville scored in the first 8 minutes or whatever it was, just set us back and didn't allow us a chance to really compete. And what was an incredibly important game.
Yeah.
And that's, if you kind of lay an egg in an 8-game season, then you've set yourself back tremendously. Compare the women's season to the men's season. Every single women's game is 3 times as important as a men's game, because they play a third of the games total. So when you're looking at the standings, scheduling quirks, however they might be, laying an egg is incredibly disappointing. And I thought the women were had some really good moments. I thought they were unlucky not to get back into the game. And they kept pushing until the final whistle, and that was really nice to see. But it's just one of those games where, too many things went wrong too quickly.
Yeah.
And I think on a different day, that scoreline ends up differently. Maybe not a win, but certainly a draw.
Yeah.
A result that we've achieved, against Knoxville already this season. And it just really stinks because that was a great opportunity. It's a good team to get back on the right foot after the loss to Nashville and to keep ourselves in the hunt. At that point in time, like Nashville goes out and wins, runs the table. They're winning the damn conference. There's nothing we can do. There's no playoffs. But like you still want to go out and compete and give yourself the best possible chance. And so like that's why it's a little frustrating, I think, for me. And I'm sure that the women feel that way too. They would have liked to have that one back.
Yep. So let's go over the starting lineups. Goalkeeper Caroline Johnson, right wing back Bailey Dull, right center back Anna Lanter, center back Avery Catlett, left center back Avery Ingalls, left wing back Katie Johnson, central defensive midfielder Ava Van Doren, the Swiss Army knife, central midfielder Nadia Ivanchenko, central attacking midfielder Kristan St. Louis, interesting, striker Summer Hernandez, and striker Victoria Grant. The subs were Kristen Grant, Addie Chapman, Serena Lewis, Sage Samali, and Brianna Hurtado. Those are who saw minutes, correct?
Yes. So I want to point out something. We kept the same like lineup approach for labeling for this game and for the next one as well. And I think lineups and formations are fluid, right? We've been over that a ton of times on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
If you really wanted to break it and shake it down, it's probably closer to a 3-4-1-2 with the three center backs. The wing backs are now like more in a line with two central midfield players.
Mm-hmm.
So for your 3-4, and then the attacking front is more of a trio now with one playing behind two.
Yeah, with the departure of Sam Maudsley due to injury, you've seen that the single pivot is not as easily played by any other player on this roster. It's not as there's not a like for like switch. Ava Van Doren being a striker who's played right wing back and holding mid
and left wing back.
And left wing back. Sorry, and then Sage Samali we've seen get some time there as well. Like
it's more of a kind of 10.
Yeah, so it's just not known as a like for Sam there.
And that's definitely like caused some problems in terms of organization, in terms of snuffing out some danger that in the first few games of the season would never have become dangerous. You're just increasing the odds of something going wrong by not snuffing it out early enough, if that makes sense. And I do think that's a big reason why the team's form has dipped a little bit in this kind of second half of the season.
I do as well. So I don't want to dwell on their goals. We've kind of already described them, which is actually, let's go into them. Two of them are just
balls over the
top. Player being a little more athletic or just getting a jump, and we don't have the athleticism to keep up. And in athleticism, I'm referring directly to speed in this case. And we don't have the speed to catch up. And then one of the goals is a good cutback and a little bit of a defensive switch off, and that's all she wrote. So those were rough and not fun. But also, like you said, we were better than that scoreline dictated. I would like to talk about the goal we did get.
Okay.
Summer Hernandez. Is she right-footed or left-footed?
She's right-footed.
It doesn't matter. She can score with both feet. That is a wonderful. You described it as a FIFA goal, where there's like a kind of a cheat code-ish.
In old FIFA, not
in old FIFAs.
Not in new FIFAs.
Sometimes you could spin around and just hit it across your body. She just spins around and smashed it across her body right over top of the goalkeeper. It's awesome. It's wonderful, and it's surprising that it's with her left foot. And just because of how hard she hits it and how perfectly she hits it. But also, you just got to remember, Summer can score with her head. She has her hat trick earlier this year was a true hat trick: head, left foot, right foot. Not in that order necessarily. So I was super happy to see that. That was well deserved. And if this game finishes 1-1 or even 2-1, it feels a lot better.
Yeah.
But
it feels annoying because it's 3-1.
Yeah, I agree.
I do want to give the shout outs on Summer's goal there. Sage Samali with the assist. Great little ball in. Summer had
Yeah.
found a little pocket of space, and Sage finds her really, really well. And Sage is in a position to find her because the play starts out from an attacking corner kick, and Katie Johnson is just keeping the ball alive, like with some good dribbling, and she's able to kind of hold the ball, keep it, flick it over a defender, and then poke it to Sage, excuse me, and then Sage just slides it to Summer to start the shot sequence, and really, really nice stuff.
For large portions of this season, KD has been a real game changer.
Oh yeah,
Real game changer for us, both athletically and technically, which is, she's been one of the best players on the field in every game we've played for either team.
Yeah, I mean, I think moving her into midfield. Actually, I don't know why. Do I have her at?
You have her at left wing back.
I might be wrong about that. Now that I'm looking at the wrong lineup. That's right. Okay, never mind. We're good. So in the second half, that explained why I was freaking out about that. In the second half, Coach Douglas moved Katie into midfield to help use her athleticism to help shore some things up in there. And I think that's one of the reasons why our second half was so much better in terms of stopping some attacks from developing, from keeping Knoxville pinned in a little bit. She started really patrolling the midfield, which was really, really cool to see. And then you'll see in the Charlotte lineup that change has kind of been noticed.
Yeah.
Or officialized or whatever.
Yeah. So this, and I'm going to kind of meld the two together now. This game here, I think contributes to that, spoiler alert, 5-0 loss in the next game. Because I think this was the big let off or let down, meaning once we lost this game, I think you kind of felt the the air kind of come out of the sails, wind come out of the sails, so to speak, air out of the balloon. I think this was a game that, like you said, was a must win for us to keep our playoff hopes alive. And we not only did we not win it, we ended up losing it. And I think you see that in the response to it in an away game, right? A really tough away game. It's always tough to go on the road, to take a bus up and a bus back, to play your best game when everybody else is just not taking a bus. Is just getting out of their car and going to the match. It's for sure harder. So I'm not, and it's a long bus ride, right?
Yeah.
But I do think there was a big let up, and an understandable let up. Additionally, the injuries keep piling up a little bit. The absences keep piling up a little bit, and in the we can just go straight into the Charlotte game, and we can come back, of course, to the Knoxville game if we have more thoughts about it. But
sure.
I'll just go over the starting lineup. So starting lineup shake up in Charlotte: Brooke Alvarez in goal, Kristen Grant at right wing back. So that's a change right there. Anna Lenter at right center back, Serena Lewis at center back, and left center back Bailey Dole. So we don't have either Avery Engels left center back, nor do we have Avery Catlett, who has now gone to Ball State.
Yes.
To play soccer.
Yeah, we gave her a little bit of a send off, after the Knoxville game. Brought her onto the capo stand just to show our appreciation to her, because we knew it was going to be her last game, and she's been a big part of what we've been trying to do the last couple of years. And we owed it to her to give her a little send off as she heads off to a grad transfer.
And she's
Ball State.
She's been really, really good this year, defensively.
Mm-hmm.
That if you think back to that Atlanta game where she just decided she was going to dribble up the field every game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
She's going to go on slaloming runs where she's defensively she's been great.
It's clear that we missed her in the Charlotte game, and obviously the losses of Maudsley and now Catlett for the Charlotte game. It's really tough when you lose a couple starters, especially when they're in your spine.
Mm-hmm. And look, we only had 3 subs in that game, so I'll finish out round out the starting lineup. So we have left center back Bailey Dole, left wing back Ava Van Doren, central CDM Sage Samoli, CDM Nadia Ivanchenko, and central attacking midfielder Katie Johnson. So you have them listed as playing side by side here, Sage and Nadia. And and then with Katie playing in front of them. And then Summer Hernandez and Kaylee Burrell starting up top. And then we only have 3 subs here, 3 subs that got minutes listed here on this end, unless you've cut somebody off.
No, I mean, Caroline was there, but she didn't play.
Anna Silva, Victoria
she was the
Grant.
only unused substitute, Caroline.
Anna Silva, Victoria Grant, and Sarah King.
That was it.
That's another reason we were probably in worse shape, because you're going to run out of gas when you're normally subbing 6 or 7 players a lot of times. And we're getting towards the end of a season that's pretty packed in here, and it makes it tough. And look, losing, Caroline's been starting all season. She's not in there. You've changed out right wing backs. You've moved a left wing back into the central midfield. For better or for worse, she's there.
Yep.
So she's not out wide to do the things she does out wide a lot. You're missing your Sam Maudsley. You're missing Avery Catlett and Avery Engels, 3 of your mostly defensive starters for the whole year. Your central defensive midfielder and your 2 center backs. And look, it showed in this game. That 5-0 on the scoreline. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think we were poor necessarily for most of the game. I think we just had some big switch offs and some bad moments in this game, and then some of the same things that happened in the Knoxville game. The big ball over the top.
Yeah, there's a theme forming here
for the last few games.
For the last few games, it started with Nashville, and we talked about it with Nashville of like we're close. We're in the ball game. We're in the conversation. We're missing a few things to really take us to where we need to go, both in terms of like that high end talent, like a player like Yuki, whose last name I still don't know, and I really should. That's kind of
Watari,
yeah. A player like her.
I forget it on purpose sometimes, but I know it.
Like that super high level talent, and we're also just missing as many depth pieces. So our starting our like best 11 on paper at the beginning of the season, but before we even started, like, was pretty decent, and I think it showed with some of the play in the early parts of the season.
It showed with those first 3 results,
and
which are our best results in the season.
And then it struggled, like as we lost pieces and important pieces, the drop off is noticeable. And look, that's
soccer.
That's soccer, and that's also a bit of the difference. Like, do I think, with a couple of those pieces back, do we suddenly beat Women's Football Club of Charlotte 5-0? No, let's not kid ourselves. That's a good team. They're going to finish probably top 3 in the top 3 in the conference. Like that's a good team we just played. But we are much closer. We're much closer to them, full strength, than 5-0 certainly, and I think we are. We're still kind of looking for that thing to help us break through. Mm-hmm. And so like for large portions of the game, we can play pretty evenly. Like work some stuff around. There are some key moments where we are struggling, and certainly athleticism is one of them. If we're trying to play soccer and our line gets a little high, and all of a sudden there's in the
Knoxville game, the goalkeeper had 2.
Maybe there's a
assists.
Turnover. Maybe there's a big ball. It wasn't an assist. Calm down. Hockey assist, maybe.
She has a direct assist on the first one over the top, because she's all the way up celebrating because it's an assist. And
assist. It was not an assist. No. Do not give these players credit when they do not deserve it. It was not an assist. Yeah, I'm right.
We just watched these.
Yeah, and you're still wrong. So,
the point still stands. I think you're wrong, but the big ball over the top, no matter where it comes from, including from the keeper.
I mean, like the knockdown, the big ball at the top can come from the keeper, but like it's the knockdown that worries, because that play, like everyone kind of stops for a second when the 2 players come together to try to head the ball.
Oh, on the first one, yeah.
And,
no, I remember it.
And when that happens, like everyone's kind of stopped, and then it's just wherever the ball goes, whoever's like already in motion or whoever can get there the fastest. And
one touch.
And that's where, like, when our line's pretty high, that's one touch that takes them out and they're gone. And that happened in the Charlotte game as well. Not exactly in the same sort of way, but like that one moment of they're just off to the races. and there was an indirect free kick with a really, really weird scenario where a referee called a back pass. Probably was. Like it's just there's some little things that we're just not quite there yet. We're close. We're certainly closer than we were last year, but we're not close enough. And I think this has been I think these last 3 games have been a bit of a wake up call that we've built this thing, but it could be deeper. I think it needs to be deeper, and be able to more withstand some injuries in a short season. There's a reason why these squads are sometimes pretty large.
It's the reason our original one was 28 players.
Yeah, exactly. Like we've burned through that pretty well. And we've definitely got some work to do towards the off season. Now, that being said, there's still a lot to play for, actually. I think we come in as of recording time, we come in 6th place right now, and there's an opportunity to still finish 5th, and that's in the upcoming game against Soda City at home on July 1st.
It's going to be a tough game, Matthew. Soda City's pretty good.
Okay, Soda City's struggled this year. So like I don't frankly, I expect us to get 3 points in that game, and if we don't, we've got worse problems than some of these last 3 games. My thing is, I'm looking at the schedule. We've got Soda City to close out the season. On the flip side, Knoxville 865 Alliance has the Charlotte Eagles. Is that right? Or is it Women's Football Club of Charlotte? It's Women's Football Club of Charlotte. If Women's Football Club of Charlotte beats Knoxville and we are able to beat Soda City by, I think it's 7 goals, we will overtake Knoxville on goal difference and finish in 5th.
And I know that seems crazy, but Soda City lost one of theirs 11-0.
Yeah.
We can score 7. It's going to be a tall order.
I mean, it's going to be tough. We're obviously beat up, and missing some players. But like, listen, there's still something to play for here. Finishing 5th is better than finishing 6th, and
without a doubt,
that's where we are right now, and that's where we got to finish the job.
And look, let's end the season on a high note. Let's go get a big win.
Win at home. Like let's get some momentum going into the off season, and then let's give these women that have spent their summer with us a massive send off, a little bit of thanks for being here. Thanks for taking a chance on us.
100%.
Yeah, like I think it's incredibly important.
Now I'm looking at your takeaways here, Matthew, and they are very detailed and very long. Do you want me to read them for you?
I'm pretty sure it just says fuck over and over.
It does. It's just 1 fuck and then 2 fucks and then 3 fucks.
That's some detail.
That is some good detail. I'll give you mine. Sam is a huge miss. We already said that. I think you see the defense slowly but surely crumbling's too far, but you see the defensive performances get a step down once she got injured. And like, look, we didn't have a like-for-like replacement, and that's probably the position we were thinnest. Well, maybe not, but like of the injuries that we suffered this year and of the absences that we had, that was the position we were thinnest at, was the 6. And that's just a bummer. 2 long road games are tough. We had 1 long road game this season, and you saw it's the game we lost 5-0 in. That's the game that we had to go 6 hours away from home, not 2 hours away from home. And you could just see like that's a big in this conference. Like people aren't traveling that far, and the games where you travel a long way.
And we also don't know who was unavailable that could have been available for a 2-hour road trip, but wasn't for a 6-hour road trip, an overnight.
Exactly.
That's our first overnight with the women's team
of the last 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a new experience for a lot of players. For sure. For the summer level, at least.
For sure. Then number 3, mentality only gets you so far. So something that I've talked a lot about on this podcast is that the mentality of this team has been very, very good, and it's really overcome some both talent and like athleticism differences in the teams thus far. And man, we kind of saw the limits of it in this game. The lack of depth, which we've just spoken about, you could really feel that, and you could see it lacking in some key positions. So. I'm not really upset about that. It's just that's just the reality of playing, right? Like if it's hard to have starting level players at the backups of every position. And once you started losing some of those starting level players, like the mentality was not enough to make up for it. And that sucks because these last two games, losing by a combined 8-1 score is a bummer. But also, I think you got to separate those two games and realize like that first game that against Knoxville, except for a couple key plays, could have been a very different game.
Yeah.
But the Charlotte game was rough. But that's how it goes. This has been a really good season so far overall. I shouldn't say a really good season because I don't know if it's been a good season yet. I don't know how exactly I feel about it, but it's been very much a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
Or back in the right direction rather, towards the winning ways. And we just got to go get it done on July 1st to end up with a win and a strong send off.
So I'll give you my three now. My first one is, who are we? Are we the team that had 2 wins and 2 draws in the first 4 matches, including a draw at Knoxville and a draw at home against Nashville? Are we the team that lost at Nashville, at home against Knoxville, and at Charlotte, back-to-back games? I think ultimately it's a little bit of both.
And just cut this whole part out.
Yeah.
They're so tough. They're so tough. My dogs are dumb, especially the little one.
Yeah, but we love them.
Go back from point number 1.
Just at the beginning.
If you're good with that. That way I have 2 shots at looking, because I don't remember exactly when.
Don't worry, I don't know where I was going with it either. So. All right, point number 1. Who are we? Are we the team that took 2 wins and 2 draws from our first 4 games?
Yep.
Including a home draw against Nashville. We're the only team so far to take points off Nashville in the conference. And including an away draw at Knoxville, where we showed a lot of character, great mentality in that game. And then, we beat the shit out of Birmingham, which everyone's doing. But we also had a tough game against Atlanta Fire. It took some time for that to develop, but still kept pressing, got the job
Welcome
done.
to Bangerville.
Welcome to Bangerville. Or are we the team of the last 3 games where we lost to Nashville, where we lost at home against Knoxville, and we lost at Women's Football Club of Charlotte?
And none of those games on the score line at least were close.
Yeah. By the way, that's 11 goals against and 2 goals for in that 3-game stretch. Now, granted, that was always going to be the hard stretch of the season.
Yep.
Those 3 games were going to determine.
But rolling into those games, we said if we can get a draw against Nashville and a win against Knoxville, we're still in this.
You're giving yourself a chance.
But
at the end.
we lost all 3 of these games. And again, we just said we feel like the Knoxville game was closer than the scoreline appears.
Yeah.
All of these games weren't close to the scoreline.
So who, which team are we? Are we the team of the first 4? Or are we the team of the last 3?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit of both. We're not. I don't think we are a team in totality that just lost the last 3 by a combined score of 2-11. I don't think we're that team, but I do think it's clear that those games showed some weaknesses that didn't necessarily show up, especially against Nashville at home. And maybe that's just Nashville personnel. We don't really know that for certain. But I do think that's something to look at as the season kind of winds down, figuring out what went well, what did not go well, how can we make things better. Figuring out who we actually were is going to be paramount to determining where we have to go next. Number 2, July 1 is priority. We can talk about who we are and where we want to go and all these types of things. July 1 is priority. We have to beat the shit out of Soda City. And that means, and straight up, that means when we play that game,
it's the opposite of Women's Football Club of Charlotte. They're coming here now. They're on the long road trip.
The Charlotte Knoxville game happens a week later than our last game of the season against Soda City. So, every single goal matters. I think actually if we beat Soda City 7-0 or whatever it is, and Women's Football Club of Charlotte beats Knoxville but it's like 4-3 or 5-4. Like there's some goal scenarios here. Knoxville can still actually end up beating us on goal difference, because that would be even, and it would go to goals scored. So I guess what I mean to say is, like, if we can win that game 7-0, that's great.
Or 8-0 or 9-0.
If we can win that game 20-0, I don't want to hear shit from people saying that we're running up the score and we're bad sports or whatever. Like, that's a place in the table. Okay? That's a place in the fucking table. July 1's priority.
Let's get numbers 1 through 11 on the field.
And I want to bring the rain on July 1. Let's send this team off well. Let's send them off in a winning way. Send them off in a big win. And we'll let the table shake out after the game's over.
I agree.
And I guess number 3 overall, like, we're a work in progress. This team is a work in progress.
This program's
a work in progress. This program. We got some recruiting to do, and this actually leads back into point number 2. Like, always be recruiting, but you start recruiting by how you play and how you win,
and how you finish.
And we've got a job to do. And we'll do a full wrap up of the women's season when it's time. I think we're doing this on the fly right now, but I think I don't want to do it after, like, the week after the Soda City match. I think I want to take a few weeks.
Me too.
I want to wait for, number 1, to see how the weekend after develops, which I realize is, like, me absolutely playing into a small sample size event, could have drastic implications for 5th or 6th in the table. But I also want to see, like, how far does Nashville go in the playoffs? Or, does Charlotte Eagles, are they able to pull it off and, like, sneak through or whatever? And, like, I want to see how some things develop. I want to give some time, and then we'll come back in August, I think, and really, like, have a conversation and see where we are and where we need to go.
I agree. Well, Matthew, thank you for joining me on podcast number 2 of today, Little Peek Behind the Curtain.
Woo!
We have one more still to go.
Man, my voice is so screwed up from Saturday's match.
From all the cigarettes you smoked on Saturday. You shouldn't be doing that.
I don't think it was that. I think it was drinking beer and not seltzers.
It's pretty good at drinking beer. Do.